And what I love is that way, a family member comes near you and you can find like angry Agnes, she's step away from mom.
Yeah.
It's a great way to help people understand that you are truly mood swinging so quickly potentially, and also the great different levels of moods that you can be having. It's so specific too. No one has the same menopause. Everyone has their own personal version of it. Some people, bless them, get through it really easily and it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And other people, it's just medieval torture. And we end it, we have at the back of the book, we say, to all those women who went through menopause in the dark and to all those wishing they could currently stay there.
Welcome to the Menopause Mindset Podcast, the place to get some answers and feel supported along this often a bumpy journey. Many people sail through menopause, but many people don't. And so my guests and I are here to motivate you and inspire you so that you can make menopause a happier transition for yourself and for your loved ones. I'm Sally Garozzo, an award-winning clinical hypnotherapist, a menopause educator, and I can't wait to share my passion about wellness and how we navigate these changes and transitions. So come on then, let's dive in. So my guest today is Michelle Cohen. Michelle is a multi-talented creator whose work spans writing, producing, directing, performing, and coaching. Her work has been recognised by CNN, Good Morning America, and People magazine. Michelle crafts compelling content that entertains, inspires, and sparks meaningful change. Currently, she's collaborating with SOL, the nation's leading spirituality and mental health app. Michelle's notable achievements include producing the off-Broadway sensation Schoolhouse Rock live, spearheading the publishing of Jeff Corey's memoir, Improvising Out Loud, featuring none other than Leonard Nimoy and Jack Nicholson. She's also co-created Menopop, which I can't wait to learn all about today, and hosted World Menopause Days, It's Cool to Be Hot party. As an educator, Michelle has taught at NYU, guest lectured at UCLA, and developed innovative workshops for creatives and professionals. And today she continues to inspire transformation through her diverse and impactful endeavors. So Michelle, welcome to the pod. How are you?
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here and to meet you and say hello to everybody.
Oh, it's so awesome. We were just chatting before we came on live that you are in my favorite city of them all, New York, New York. Woo!
Yay! It's so much fun. You had to name it twice. New York, New York.
Exactly that. So I'm very jealous. I mean, it's gorgeous where I am, but I'm jealous. I would rather be in New York City.
Well, you can feel the vibes right now. We're in it together.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you. So I'm always so curious to know how people from a non-medical background end up in the menopause space, because I think it just goes to show how all-encompassing the menopause transition actually is. So let's start there. Can you tell us a little bit more, first of all, about your pop-up book and how you ended up getting so interested in the menopause transition?
Sure, it actually all comes together. So yeah, I'm in the creative field, in the creative world, but what happened to me and my company, which is what's happening to the rest of the world, someone you love suddenly goes into menopause. And one of our main people, we were developing a TV show at the time. She was 20 years older than us, and she started having heart palpitations. And this was a good 20 years ago. So there was very little information. She had no idea what was going on with her and was freaking out, and slowly started, from the doctors and everything, they figured out, okay, she's in menopause. And all of us went, what's that? And mostly because we are of service and entertainment people, we said, well, how do we make you feel better? So we started looking into, is there anything not only to make her feel better, but that actually might be fun, crazy talk. And we discovered there was very, very, very little out there. I mean, at all. It was all just this excruciatingly hard, difficult to read, let alone to want to read. And none of us are quite sure exactly why or how, we suddenly thought what the world needs is a menopause pop-up and activity book, which we called Menopop. And we went about to discover what it would mean, discover how to do it right, discover how to do it with love and care and awareness. And lo and behold, these performers were suddenly dealing with China and special, people shipping all of the paperwork to here. And I mean, all of the kind of entrepreneur stuff that you deal with to create. I mean, this beautiful. It's a beautiful book. We're very proud of how gorgeous it came out, but it's also really silly and really funny. And we created a menopause fairy who used to be the tooth fairy, and now look at her. She's not very pleased. So she got demoted, and she basically takes you through what are a lot of the symptoms. And each page, I mean, the main pop at the beginning is literally a uterus popping out with fallopian tubes.
Wow.
And it's fun. We call it like the welcome mat to menopause. Like, you're going to have it. Everyone's going to go through it, and anyone adjacent to you is going to go through it too. How do we learn what's happening in a sort of less dour, scary, horrifying way? Like, we're not going to say to you, we're going to like cure you. We can't. You're going to go through it. But can we hold your hand, and can we say you're not alone? And can we say, oh, maybe part of this could be a little bit funny if you want to find your funny bone again? We're just trying in our own bizarro brains way to make it an easier journey, because you're going to go through it. But this way, it's kind of like a big old hug. And it's also really silly. I mean, my favorite, we have a centerfold, Miss My Period. And she's in a tub with like ice and air conditioning blowing at her. And my favorite is it says do not pull. So of course you have to pull. And you pull, and up comes this very good looking, bare chested gentleman with a palm frond. And he's, waving. And so it's just this big old fantasy. We're just doing everything we can to make it as palatable and fun as possible. So that was how we came up with and actually created this book.
I've got this vision in my mind of all these creatives just improvising, and I've done a little bit of improv, and I love how these ideas are sparked.
It's amazing. I mean, I remember very specifically there were four of us who created. One man, the man actually is the one who illustrated. So it was three women, one woman who was going through it, two women who were way younger, and a gentleman. And we just started exploring and riffing. And I'm very proud I came up with the idea of the centerfold. I don't know why, but I think that's kind of funny.
Go you.
I know, right? But we all just contributed in different ways. Like one of the main menopause symptoms is brain fog. And what I learned is you lose your nouns. You can't remember the names of things. It's literally your nouns. So we created a page called Tag a Thingy. And it's just Post-it notes that says, hello, my name is Desk. Hello, my name is Fido, the dog. So it's just like, again, you kind of want to wear name tags after a while, because you do. Now that I'm older and I have actually had the experience, I'm like, oh, wow, I'm like the thingy. What's that? And because we like the word thingy, that's just a fun, lots of consonants kind of word, that became the name of the page.
I'm trying not to laugh over you, because this is hilarious. I went into a bookshop the other day, and I saw these Post-it notes, which are so useful when you're going through the menopause, but they're like static. They're not sticky. They're static. So these aren't them. They're, but they're like, here we go.
Sounds like,
those great big sheets that you used to get, and I don't know if anyone's ever used these, like when you're plotting something, it's like a static whiteboard, and it goes up on any wall, and you can use a dry marker, but they're like, and I thought, oh my God, these are so amazing. And they are everywhere, all around the house now. But you're absolutely right. It's the nouns. It's the and places and people's names and the names of things. Where do they go? They go into this like menopause ether.
The special fog,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, we also created, because I wanted people to have a space to be able to show that their mood swings happen like every 5 seconds. So we created a section called Dial a Mood, and we have the Dial a Mood ladies, and you keep dialing and you get, like weepy Wanda, lonely Lenora, angry Agnes, tired Pat, so you just keep learning all these different characters. And what I love is that way, a family member comes near you and you can find like angry Agnes, she's up, step away from mom. you know,
Yeah.
it's a great way to help people understand that you are truly mood swinging so quickly potentially, and also the great different levels of moods that you can be having. It's so specific too. No one has the same menopause. Everyone has their own personal version of it. Some people, bless them, get through it really easily and it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And other people, it's just medieval torture. And we end it, we have at the back of the book, we say, to all those women who went through menopause in the dark, and to all those wishing they could currently stay there.
Yes.
you know?
Yeah, yeah, it's so beautiful. And do you know what I love about the idea of it is how it kind of normalizes what you're going through. And as you say, it's like it's funny, it's a warm hug. It's like, hey, look, we get it. We get it so much that we created a pop-up book for you. This is how much we get it.
Right. And here's the thing. We on purpose made it an evergreen. It looks like a kid's book from the 60s. So every generation that is going to go through it, it will still be relevant. And what we found is that it's a combination of, for those who literally think, menopause is just your period stops. Good luck with that one.
Mm.
And then other people who just think they're crazy and by themselves and don't understand that that's what they're going through. This is sort of just a calm, easy way to just get a heads up. We put a whole bunch of symptoms in there so that you can be, going, oh, that's a symptom too. Okay, got it. So that, and what's fun is, because it's a pop-up book, everyone and their mother wants to pick it up. So we have lots of people who, their husbands get it for them, and then their kids are looking at it. So then they're like, oh, mom, you're having a hot flash. Like, now they know.
Yeah.
And it's an easy way for the whole family to understand. Oh, we also, because we can't be ambitious enough, there's a game in the middle of the book. It's called Menoland. And it has a spinner. It has and we have people like in offices that will, for their break, they'll actually play Menoland. And the object is to try to get through menopause. Ha ha ha. And it just takes, if you hit a certain tile, it's like, oh, you're all frustrated, go to the wall of frustration, or you're in a fog, go to the swamp of confusion. There's all these like fun, again, ways to learn what the symptoms are by landing on that tile and having the menopause experience of back and forth until eventually the ending is room for hope.
Oh, I
And we
love
help to get you
it.
through that. Yeah.
I love that idea of Menoland. I can see Walt Disney taking that on and creating a theme park.
Right? Oh my God, I hadn't thought of that. Well, it's sort of a riff on Candyland. It has a semblance of that, but I love turning it into that's the thing. It's, especially this generation of women now. The generation prior, when we first created the book, was a more quiet, less confrontational group of women.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this next generation, it's like, what is happening? I
We're
want to
noisy.
know. We are so noisy, and I'm thrilled about that.
Yeah.
It's why, we kept the book. It did very well when it first came out. It was self-published, so the fact that we did as well as we did was pretty impressive. But we found the past couple of years, it was like, oh, we need to rejoin and remind this new group of women, because they are screaming for this. They're like, what is happening to me? I'm not going to go quietly into the night. And it's been really, it's funny. People are like, you were such a visionary. I'm like, no, we just were loud enough, I guess, at the time.
Yeah. And if you create something good enough, you don't actually have to push so hard to get it to market as well, because
Right.
people naturally want it. And it sounds like That's true. I just had my visions of Menoland, real in-person Menoland, just being full of spas. Like the roller coasters are very slow in Menoland.
I love it. And you're handed, beautiful sparkling water as you come in, or alcohol, whatever you need.
Yeah, yeah.
Whatever's going to get you through.
Foot rubs on every corner.
Perfect.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And I love also how the book sparks conversation between family members and colleagues, and it just sort of takes the seriousness away from it, which can be a real barrier to those conversations, can't they?
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of the work that we do as, you can simply be an entertainer, ha 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 ha. But we have felt, because media is so impactful, that the more you can actually, even if it's subtly, add help, add awareness, add challenge that changes you, but in a fun way. Like, we call it healing through humor.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a gift. I mean, that's how I like to go through the world. I can be having the worst possible thing going on. And at this point in your life, of course you have, something has happened. And I always say to people, if you see that I've lost my sense of humor about it, please be worried, because that's when, how do you get out of that? And it's not that you're mocking something. It's not that you're making fun of it. You're just trying really hard to find a perspective that you can live with, and that you can, remain powerful when you are feeling powerless.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that was going to be my next question actually for you, was around humour. Explain a little bit more what healing through humour is, and why it's so important, but also why it's been important for you personally, and how you kind of keep your sense of humour going through hard times. I think you've got a story, haven't you, about surgery and a intravenous and George Clooney.
Yeah, a little bit. So yeah, I'm known for being fun and funny. That's just my kind of automatic. So I don't expect everyone to be joking. What I always ask people is, even if you don't think you're funny or you don't have a joke, just allow for lightness in the room, allow people to be funny around you, because that already is going to make a difference. So for me, being hyper funny, I was actually in the hospital for surgery, and of course, out of my mind in fear and concern, and I didn't feel well. I mean, all of that. And I was going to be in there for a couple days, and I thought, okay, this needs some attention. I need help. And so me, in my bizarre brainwave, decided to go into fantasy land and bring everybody with me. So the first thing I did was, I had the intravenous in my arm and the pole, and I looked at the pole, and I looked at this nurse who was gorgeous. He literally looked like George Clooney. He knew it. And so we called him Nurse George Clooney. And I turned to Nurse George Clooney. I said, "Oh, this is my boyfriend. What's his name?" And he said, Paul. I'm like, "Paul the pole?" I'm like, "Okay." So Paul and I are very attached. And we started being really silly, and anybody would come in to take my blood pressure or do whatever, we'd start talking about our relationship and having a really good time. And then one moment, George Clooney was, helping me. And at some point he looked at me, he's like, "Are you cheating on me?" And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I mean, he started playing with me too. Okay. So it's like, "I'm sorry, we can talk about it in therapy." He's like, "I don't know, I'm really bummed." I'm like, "I'm so sorry. Okay, don't look at him. Don't talk to him." And we would I had to take walks around the, the hallway, and he would walk with me like we were on a date. He's like, "I'll pick you up at 5. I'm like, "Oh, thank you so much." And then one time Paul the pole did something to my arm, and we had to take it out. So I said we were having a really rough time and we need our distance. And I didn't want to talk to him. I didn't want to talk about it. I mean, it was just absurd. But what started to happen was, not only was I just in this like crazy fun headspace, all of these beleaguered nurses and doctors who are so busy, they had so much fun coming to me, so that the morning of my surgery, I have, everyone's like around your bed to explain what's going on. And I turned to myself and said, "I'm so excited for my spa." And they were like, "Oh, yes, would you like cucumber in your water? Should you have a massage?" I was like, "A foot massage during my spa time would be lovely." And like, we turned it into, I wasn't about to go have an operation.
I
I was going
love
to a
this.
spa. And it was just, I mean, afterwards I reflected on it and I thought, yes, it was like my way of getting through it and feeling like, except for the surgery part, I had a good time, a little crazy. But it also, everyone lit up. I mean, I will say I had better attention because people wanted to come play with me.
Yeah.
That it wasn't on purpose, it just happened. And I could see people light up who were normally just dealing with such hard days. So it was sort of a blessing in disguise. So the humor wasn't just my healing, it was healing for everybody in that room. And that's the thing to remember when someone's going through menopause, everyone around them is going through menopause.
Yeah. Wow, you have literally like it's so genius, I think, what you've been doing there, like creating this alternate reality. And actually this is, and especially for things like medical interventions as well, I'm a hypnotherapist and I work with
Mm,
people who often have health anxiety and they're terrified of, going into hospital or having surgery or getting ill or anything like that. And I think if you can reframe it, if you can go into a happy place, go into a comedic place and find the funny in something, I'm sure it's changing the neurochemistry massively in our body. I did it once,
exactly.
actually. I had my first ever surgery was spinal surgery.
Ugh.
I know it wasn't major, but it's major enough. And I was seeing a kind of spiritual healer, counselor at the time, and she said to me, right, what I want you to do is just write down a letter from your future self to your present day self, telling your present day self how well everything went.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. So you had a really funny nurse and they gave you, it was funny. And I don't think we quite got to it was like a spa, but I mean, genius or what? Like you're walking down into theatre and you're actually going to have a spa. I mean, I love that. That is the ultimate reframe for me. Yeah, I love it. And yeah, like literally when I woke up from surgery, well, everything that I predicted happened.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, yeah. I had
Wow.
great nurse, woke up, feeling, the first thing I did was wiggle my toes. I knew that that's what I'd set myself the intention of wiggling my toes to make sure I got that connection there, I didn't lose the connection in my legs or anything. And yeah, it just all went really well. And my recovery was so quick because I'd put it in my script.
That's exactly. Here's the thing: our minds are very suggestible.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying go into delusion; like that's not useful. Like, stay aware that you're
Healthy
playing.
delusion.
Healthy delusion, fine. Like, stay very aware that you're going into this. I'm an actor.
Choose it.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm trained as an actor, so I know that I'm still playing a script as opposed to I have become this deluded human.
Yeah, it's not
But
psychosis.
exactly. But that being said, there is something kind of other about being happy even in pain.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a choice, and I am not in any way saying that it's always easy. Like, there are times when you are just curled up in bed and you're a mess and not much is going to help. I totally get it. We all, including me, have absolutely been in situations where it's too much. It's just too much to ask of yourself.
Yeah.
So you wait for the moment when you can start to climb up a bit. But to your point, there's something, our brains are thirsting for how to make us feel better. So if we add to it all these ideas and these thoughts, and the idea of manifesting, they say too, I mean, I do a lot of intuitive and spiritual work as well. And there's something about speaking the words out loud, toning. There's a frequency that your body adjusts to, like your frequency raises because it's feeling better. It's like, I think we both do singing, and there's something about music that too, I mean, you may not be a funny person, but you may, adhere to the rhythm of a music. That play upbeat music. Don't play, some
Dum
scary
dum da
dum da
dum
dum.
dum da dum
Exactly.
da dum da dum.
Put on something joyful that just makes you so happy. Like that alone can absolutely, like, you don't have to do the work. Let the music do the work for you. But just intending, I think as long as we like inform ourselves, our brain, our heart, and the universe that we are intending to feel better in the with ease and grace is the words I always use, then all kinds of amazing, wonderful magic. Like, did I ask for Nurse George Clooney? I didn't even know there was possible to have him, but there he was. And what's funny is I found out later he was not supposed to tend to me. But what happened was, you automatically get wheeled in no matter what your state is. So I was being wheeled in and I was sort of doing the queen wave at everybody. Because I just felt so silly being, I don't know, I wasn't that ill to be in a wheelchair, so I had to like make it funny. And he said he saw me do that, and he turned to the person who was supposed to take care of me, said, "She's mine," and absolutely came in because he's like, I've never seen anything like it. It was crazy and
Oh
fun.
wow! Oh, I'm just like, yeah, I love this, and I think you said something earlier. Your brain is always seeking ways to help you, and I know that to be true. Your imagination is so powerful, and this is why I really love working with actors, actually, because their imaginations are so easy to work with, oftentimes, and they're really into characters and characterization. Well, funny little pins and needle thing went on there on my arm. That's odd.
It's a symptom.
I need to make, I don't know, make light of it somehow. I forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, the imagination is incredibly powerful. And I often think of it as a higher sense, like a sense that we can activate when we are aware that we have that choice. And I think, without sounding awful, I think we get a bit lazy. Because I think, especially in this day and age with AI, ChatGPT, like we're losing that ability to create in a way, because we're spoon-fed information and resolution and solutions.
That's a really great point. I think, I mean, part of it may be lazy, part of it just may be because a lot of people don't take the time to close their eyes and just be inside themselves. There's so much stimulation and it's on constant repeat and it's exciting, or it's, takes you away from stuff. But I'm such the adherent of shut everything down, close your eyes and say hi. See what's going on inside. And there's all kinds of activity that, the way I've learned it, you just have to ask. If you don't ask, nothing shows up. But if you ask the question of like, even of your brain, like, hey brain, what else do you want to say to me? Or hey heart, what do you want to tell me? Or, belly, what do you want to share with me? Like, there's so many ways to be creative and intuitive without having to go into major like psychic elements. It's actual, it could be, I always say, who cares if it's psychic or it's your own imagination, as long as it feels good and as long as it helps. So we all have incredible capacity. I mean, you're using your imagination in the morning when you're deciding what you want for breakfast. You're imagining, you're checking with your body, what do I want? And so already you have the skill. It's just a question of now saying, okay, let me expand that. Let me work that muscle. Let me see what else I can. So I'm going to imagine having breakfast, but I'm going to imagine like sitting amidst all of these incredible masters. I'm going to sit with Michelangelo and with, Maya Angelou and have a conversation with them while I'm having my cereal. Then you're really expanding your brain and you're having fun. Like, to me, it's all about, humor ultimately is laughter, which is ultimately makes you breathe. So that's sort of my like little trick, especially when I gave singing lessons. I would always make people laugh and they're like, no, this is serious. I'm like, no, you're learning to breathe better. Like, you automatically have to take a deep gulp if you're laughing hard.
Oh, I see what you mean.
So, yeah.
Yeah, love it. So, you recently read a book, didn't you? How the Female Body Drove 200 Million Years of Human Evolution by...
I read by,
Cat, oh, who's it by? Cat Bohannon?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, how long ago did you read that?
I read it about a year ago. I was stunned by it. Like
Yeah.
I love history. I love reading. I mean, I'm just sort of if the next cool thing I'm totally wanting to read about. And this one I was really impelled. I mean, I was like could not stop eating it. It was such an incredibly written book. I mean, she's basically a researcher. She's not a medical person, but she just thought the way of history from the dawn of time is so male centric in terms of how things happened or why things happened. And she kept saying, there's got to be a reason we have breasts. There's got to be a reason we're the ones having the babies. There's got to be a reason that all of these aspects of femininity helped evolution and made changes. And she did this extraordinary, incredible amount of research, scientific and sociological and you name it. And I have to say, luckily, it's a really fun read. Like it sounds like it would be very dry and technical, and I would not be able to read that. I took forever to read it because I didn't want it to end. But it was just so incredibly empowering. And they had an entire chapter about menopause. And she really talked about and deconstructed the idea of it's only in recent history that we live this long, that we live long enough to go into menopause. So she started again looking at, well, what's the positive?
What's the benefit? Yeah.
What's the benefit
women living longer?
And one of her posits was that these women have lived long enough that they can now, with wisdom, help the younger women birth the babies and live.
Yeah.
Help the child rearing. Like in essence, what a grand person does.
A grandmother, yeah.
Exactly, right? And so that's a phenomenal reason to have those women live longer because they can help the tribe remain alive.
This episode is brought to you by my mini course, Create Phenomenal Self-Esteem. This course will help you to reclaim your inner confidence and turn your light all the way up so that you can have more success in every way. Did you know that you can have phenomenal high self-esteem and be a nice person? This mini course gives you maximum results and a roadmap to create phenomenal self-esteem with just the right amount of detail, the right amount of journal prompts, neurobiological technology, and one-to-one support to jumpstart your journey, and all for just the price of £47. This mini course is for you if you can be harsh, hurtful, and critical towards yourself. It's for you if you're crippled by a feeling that nothing changes. And it's for you if your relationships, work, health, and happiness are all taking a bit of a hit. Included in the course is my high self-esteem strategy, which is a 2-part, 6-step strategy delivered to you over 2 weeks. This is a conscious pathway that you can follow for the rest of your life to turn low self-esteem around. It's simple, effective, and enjoyable. It also includes a soaring self-esteem hypnosis recording, because without tapping into the power of the subconscious mind, change rarely occurs. And finally, it includes a one-to-one support session with me, because you're not a robot, frankly. You need nuanced support. Not many online courses give you access to one-to-one help, but I do because I understand the power of validation and accountability. So, what are you waiting for? Come and join me. Create phenomenal self-esteem today. Just visit sallygarozzo.com/self-esteem. This episode is brought to you by my on-demand workshop called Redefine Your Values at Menopause and Live Life in Alignment with Them. If menopause has given you lemons, this workshop will help you make the tastiest lemonade ever. Maybe you're feeling unsure about what truly matters to you now at this point in your life. Maybe you're feeling indecisive about your next steps and need some oomph to help you make a decision. Or maybe there's something about where you're at in your life that feels a bit off and you're wondering how on earth you got here. Whatever your reason, I've got your back in this workshop. In this workshop, we're going to peel back the layers and you're going to understand yourself in a way you never thought possible, enabling you to make powerful decisions going forward. To grab a copy of the workshop that you can do either alone or with friends or with another person, just go to sallygarozzo.com/redefine. And that link will also be in the show notes. Yeah, there's an evolutionary benefit to women going through the menopause in that it supports social structure, it supports the coherence of our younger people making better decisions, improving their mental health, improving their relationships, creates a healthier society, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And I often wonder if the patriarchy realize that and that's why they attempt to shut us down.
Oh, without a doubt. I think whether it's patriarchy or any regime that is quote unquote trying to stay in power, an emphasis on trying, I feel deeply that it's in order to the only way they can stay in power is if other people are not only in fear, but if they're in ignorance. And if you have knowledge and if you've lived long enough, you have it, that's not going to help somebody who wants you to stay stupid.
Right.
And the thing that you totally see in this day and age of women who are still with us and have made it into their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, boy, oh boy, do they have knowledge.
Yeah.
And they have power. I mean, the more we're recognizing that we're not, old, we're not crones in the icky sense. I mean, there's a beautiful version of crone, but it's been given a witchy negative spin. But I think the more women realize, I mean, you look at women now, I look at women in their 50s and 60s who look like they're 30.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're not looking those ages anymore, or the old version of what we thought it looked like. We're not behaving that way. We're still unbelievably viable, both in careers, both in sexuality, in so many ways.
Creativity.
It's just, oh my God, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And so we're a little foggy, but you know what? Give them an extra minute because it's worth it. What's going to come out is awesome.
Yes. Yeah. I love that. When I saw that you'd mentioned that book and you really, you mentioned how much of an impact it had had on your life, I was like, oh, I'm just going to quickly research this, and had a little look at it and thought, yeah, I really want to talk about that because it seems like it's a positive spin on something that often is seen as a loss or a lack of. Menopause is a loss of fertility or, a lack of youth or whatever. It's like this sort of from there on after it's kind of downhill until death, right? But it's not at all. It's a total re-emergence.
I have to say, all of my friends in their 60s, they keep saying, they're like, oh my God, just you cannot believe it. It's the best. And I mean, what generation would ever have said that? And I feel the truth of it. I feel people are really, just coming into their own. Like I always say, Louise Hay, who created Hay House and all of the great healing, she did not, I mean, Hay House is this huge success, huge publishing company. She didn't start that till she was 65.
Did she not? Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I look at things like that. I'm like, oh my gosh, I still have so much time. Yay.
Yeah. And it's almost like being gifted hindsight, isn't it? We always say, oh, if only I knew what I knew now, when I was 20. But because of how much information we're gathering about menopause and going through menopause, when we get to 60, we've got so much wisdom because of all that hindsight. And we also have a good decade, if not 2 or 3, to move forward, nurturing our new ideas.
It's true. I also feel that, I mean, after you've lived a couple decades, so many things that bothered you in your 20s or you were nervous about or self-conscious about, it just goes out the window.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. And I'm so grateful for it. Like even preparing for, speaking with you today, I'm sure 30 years ago, I'd be like, oh, all nervous. And is it going to go okay? And I'm sort of like, oh, I'm so excited. This will be fun. Like, I love that that's my attitude now.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, hard earned. I think that's experience and just knowing again, after you've had some ick in your life, if it's been in the hospital or whatever it is, your proportion of what's upsetting and what isn't, I think, changes drastically.
Yeah, it really does. What's been your experience of your menopause transition? I mean, where are you in the menopause transition right now?
Yeah, I used to joke when we put the book together that I thought that meant I should be able to skip menopause because I was giving such a gift to the world.
No.
So that did not occur. However, I was pretty lucky that it was maybe 2 years worth as opposed to a lot of time. And again, I have to say, because I was aware of what to expect, there was no fear, there was no freak out. It was like I had my first hot flash and went, oh, but that was it. I was like, okay, got it. And I knew how to prepare for it. I knew how to handle it. Like, I think I'm one of the few people who, when I'm out in the world, if I'm suddenly having hot, it's like, oh, I'm just sweaty, everybody. Just everybody hang on, give me a minute.
Yeah.
Like, I feel comfortable enough that I can say something. I think a lot of people are still embarrassed or not sure how to handle it I'll be in meetings, important meetings with mostly men and be like, y'all just need to deal. Or I'll be like, I can't remember the word, having a mind moment. Everybody just give me a second. I feel very blessed that because I was so aware of what was happening, that I was able to speak and communicate with others and not feel embarrassed. And it actually, it trains people. It tells them to be aware of something. It also makes it less of a big deal. If I'm not making a big deal of it, I'm just like, hang on. It's like somebody is about to sneeze. You're not going to be like, oh my God, what's wrong with you? It's just like you wait for the sneeze and you say, bless you. It's kind of the same thing. It's like, hey guys, I'm hot. Give me a minute. I'm uncomfortable. Okay, now I'm back. Anybody have a tissue?
Yeah.
To be able to normalize it and to be someone, in my own experience, there was just never an embarrassment. There was never a freak out. And I think that I absolutely attribute that to having worked on Menopop and being really clear of, also I've been, doing writing for it. So I learned like there were 34, at the moment they think there's about 34 symptoms, and some of them are really weird. And one of them was allergies. And I had started sneezing a lot. And I was like, oh, okay, that's menopause. Like, to be able to just attribute it to something that I'm not dying. And that is actually just something and I think that's part of why it was easier for me to get through. I mean, there were times I was wanting to like kill 30 people, of course, but on the whole, even when it got kind of, the symptoms were relatively unbearable or the mood swings were just really rough, I just knew that it was a time in my life. It was a phase. It would be over. And that, whoever I was on the other side of it would be stronger and also done with. I mean, you can have certain symptoms the rest of your life, but on the whole, it's mitigated. And on the whole, you feel like a human again.
Yeah.
In whatever version you are now.
Yeah.
So I didn't escape it, but I feel like I was able to go. And this is what I'm hoping the book does, and Menopop as a brand does, is that it helps people have enough awareness so that you can build your own, even if it's a fantasy, around how you want to experience it in a way that's dealable, that's palatable, and that, dare we say, once in a while, fun.
Dare we say. Yeah, it reminds me, because I've created a series of hypnosis recordings to help women go through menopause. One of them's called
Perfect.
Cool Your Hot Flush. And my sort of signature central recording is called Sail Through Menopause. And there's lots of metaphor in there around, just sailing and calm waters and, there's an occasional bump and you just glide through it. There's a wave, you just stand at the front of the helm and you go with the flow and you enjoy the excitement of the waves and, all of this kind of
it's beautiful
language. Yeah. And as you say, I like how you're bringing that sort of choice into it. And it's true, when I'm more deliberate with my mindset, I do feel a lot happier. I feel more in control. I feel more like, just myself. I feel like I'm being really authentic and tapped into my own sort of powerful resources. And it's a
That's
really
perfect.
lovely way of approaching your day, you know?
Yeah, and I also do say to people, don't try to do it when you're in the middle of the mess. Like sometimes you're just going to be a mess and that's
Yeah.
okay. But do try when you're feeling better for a minute or a day, like that's the time to say, okay, next time this happens, what's another way? What's another option? What do I want to experiment with? And it's an experiment because, what one person finds, safe and healing and fun would not necessarily be the same for somebody else. But I do say, it is so worth it when you are feeling better to think about what you can do when you're not feeling well,
Yeah.
so that it's already installed in you, so that there's a chance that you'll remember to bring it up when you're in the panic or the pain or the whatever's going on.
Exactly that. Exactly that. It's that. What does Socrates call it? Something around the unexamined life. So having that sort of ability to reflect and examine thyself,
Know
know
thyself. That's
thyself, yeah,
uh-huh.
and see how we can improve upon, build, and evolve next time round. It's all a journey. It's all a process. And the good news is you can't get it wrong because there's always going to be another opportunity. So I love that. It
Oh
gives you
yes, there will.
freedom. Yeah. Oh, yes, there will.
You can depend on it. Didn't do it for that hot flash? Well, give me a minute. Oh, there we go.
Exactly. Just circling back to what you said about being in the meetings and just sort of going with the flow and going, give me a minute. I think that's really kudos to you about how comfortable you are within yourself. And I think, this is part of the invitation of the menopause, is to unmask and to be confident and comfortable with yourself, because actually we get to a point where we can't not. If you don't think it's an issue for you, then menopause will automatically do it for you. Now, what I'm trying to say is, if you don't want to work on yourself, don't worry, menopause will make you do it.
Bang on, you got it. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, go on.
Well, I mean, that's another way to look at menopause. It's the opportunity, anything that even unconsciously you didn't know to work on, how great that it's going to pop up so that you don't bring it with you for the rest of your life. Like, I mean, that's the beauty to me of self-reflection, that I know it's hard. I know it's hard to find time. I know it's painful sometimes, but the person you become on the other end of it is so worth it. I mean, that's what everyone's like, oh, I want to be more like you. I'm like, I did a lot of homework.
Yeah.
I did a lot of work on myself, and at times it sucked, but I am so happy with who I have become, and I get to model for people what's possible in a way I couldn't have done if I didn't sit and stare at the wall and go like, okay, really deal with this, or ask for help of, I don't know how to deal with this. But I think a lot of people, and I get it, just like scurry around and skirt around it or just keep going. But yeah, at some point you're going to get smashed in the head. So I prefer to make it a light tap as opposed to a mallet.
Yeah, full on bulldozer.
Exactly.
Oh my God. Yeah. Okay, what are we going to talk about now? Okay, so yeah, what tools, techniques, or perspectives have really worked for you during your menopause transition? I know you talk about tapping. Are there any other things that you can vouch for that you've enjoyed?
Yeah, I love the tapping. I use the what's called tapping solution with Nick and his sister. I forgot her name. Is it Jessie? Something with a J. She's awesome. That's the one I use,
Mm-hmm.
and I just think they're kind and loving, and they actually have menopause tapping on their app,
Mm-hmm.
which is really helpful. So that's something in terms of an external tool that I use. But I've gotten very good about making sure I check in, with it throughout the day, not just in the morning or in the evening. I'll even set an alarm, and my alarm goes off, let's say at 1 in the afternoon, and I'll just everything stops, and I just kind of check in with myself and be like, okay, how you doing? Did you get off track? Do you need some help? Do you need a nap? Do you need water? Are we doing good? It just really, I think the more our body knows that we're communing with it and that we're listening, like my sister has an acronym for pain, and it's pay attention inside now.
Love it.
And I love that, because to me, anything that hurts, it's just a cry from your body to pay attention to it and say, notice something's going on, and notice that the sooner and more immediate you take care of it, the faster it'll go away and the worse it won't get. You know what I mean? So I think really, I know everyone's like, oh, I have no time and I'm so busy and I have so much going on. I don't care. It could be while you're on the toilet. Seriously. Like, no one's going to be bugging you then, unless there's a cat, like, rubbing against you. But aside from that, like, find the time. And I get very serious. I have a lot of clients that I work for, and I'm like, this is where I don't find it funny. Find your time. You can. Anyone on the planet. And even when I'm at my busiest is the best time. And I find that time itself will bend for you.
Yeah.
If you are like, you know what, I am going to take that walk, even though I know I'm supposed to do the next 5 things. What you find is you take the walk and then you come back and it's like, oh, things get done really quickly because you're now aligned.
Yeah.
When you're aligned, your flow happens easily. If you're all over the place and you're out of whack, that's when things go wrong and you have to deal with obstacles and you have to deal with everything being a mess.
Yeah.
So I find the more aligned I am, the more time I have.
Yeah, I agree. I did it today, actually. I was feeling really tired today and I didn't know. My husband says, you don't know whether you want a shit or a haircut.
Oh, no.
I'm like, I didn't know whether I needed to go to the gym or go to sleep, when you get that.
Sure.
And in the end, well, actually what I did, I took myself off because I work from home. Sometimes I get cabin fever. And I thought, my feeling is like check in. I love that. Check in with yourself. I need to be in a different environment. So went across town, sat in a coffee shop, had, turmeric latte. So privileged. And then came back home and carried on, did a bit of work. And then I was like, I am exhausted and I am cold. And I've got a bed sauna, which it's like a blanket sauna. I haven't used it since last winter because it's been bagged up. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. Get it out. And I went in it for half an hour before our call today. And oh my God, I feel like a totally different person. I'm warm on the inside. I feel like radiant and glowing. I've had a sleep. I went into that lovely theta state. I had some like really lovely music on. And I realized I haven't done much self-care recently. And that sort of sluggish tiredness, it always comes like at night time if I'm not sleeping very well. If my brain is really active at night time, that's a sign for me that I need to do more self-care during the day.
Perfect.
Yeah. So as you say, our bodies are giving us a signal. They're telling us all the time. And I love these self-check-ins. Like, yeah, we can do it. We've got, and of course I have a list as long as my left arm, as we all do, what of things that we have to do. But in that moment, I'm like, no, self-preservation.
Yeah. The other thing I teach a lot when I do workshops is in those moments when you're checking in, make sure you're not checking in your head.
Yes.
Because that's the monkey mind that's busy, trying to help. And you're not going to get the best response. So I always say, when you want to check in, imagine walking to an elevator and press down and feel yourself working your way below your neck, anywhere below your neck. It could be your heart, it could be your belly, it could be your gut, it could be your toes. But when you're checking in with yourself, make sure it's literally inside your body, because that's where you're going to get the most valid and truthful assistance.
Definitely. Go down. Yep,
down the elevator.
Yeah, I love that analogy though. The elevator's brilliant, because I always say that in my hypnosis scripts. Like, you go down into your body. Like, your body is full of information, but we check
Yeah.
out from it, don't we? So
Yep.
easily, so quickly. We go, whoop, close the door to the body, ignore what we're feeling.
Well, our culture and our world is not really helpful that way.
Yeah.
They're not really, I mean, in a consumer world, it's not helpful for someone who wants you to buy things from them for you to be self-reflective and in your body and happy.
Yeah, true.
Like, they want to make sure that you're uncomfortable and not happy with yourself so that you buy things,
True.
which is unfortunate. But and so recognizing that so that you can step away from that animal once in a while is not a bad thing.
Yes, definitely taking your power back.
Mm-hmm.
We take our power back by kind of descending into the body and seeing what we need, slowing everything down. Yeah. And I think, I don't know about you, but it's have you read Dopamine Nation?
I haven't.
I haven't read it. I can't remember the name of the author. She was on Stephen Bartlett. She's Dr. somebody the other. Terrible, isn't it? Like my name. I'm going to have a look. I'm going to get it now. Bear with me
Okay.
1 sec. Diary of...
We will take a moment.
We'll take a pause and hope... we'll just riff and hope that my internet connection... right. Where is she? I think it's Dr. Judith. Here she is.
Oh, good.
Dr. Anna Lemke, Lembke, the
Great
dopamine
name.
expert. You have to listen to this episode on Diary of the CEO. Oh my God. I can literally feel my dopamine receptors like screaming now in my brain. And I'm recognizing how you have to sort of lean into that discomfort in order to starve those dopamine receptors so that they become less resistant to dopamine. So you're not constantly searching and craving for those things that are going to give you a hit.
Right.
Highly recommend it, as you know, for any of our listeners and for
That's
you,
beautiful.
Michelle.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, you also brought up a great point, is that I think most of us don't deal with our pain because that initial amount of discomfort that comes up sucks. There's no getting around it. It absolutely sucks. And what I always say to myself and to anybody who I say, just bear with it. It's so worth it. Labor, whatever you want to akin it to, but you've got that baby at the end. So at some point you just need to give yourself the love, like love yourself enough to go through that painful part in order to be done with it.
Very, very wise words. Yeah, it's sort of like learning how to be with discomfort. Mm-hmm. Isn't it? Like, how can we reframe discomfort? How can we be with discomfort when we're constantly trying to escape discomfort in this world where everything is so convenient and instant? We have to learn to go the other way, really, and lean into it for the sake of our health. Yeah, such an interesting conversation. Sorry, Michelle, go on.
No, I was just going to finalize that. It's also, you may be surprised at how much it doesn't hurt. And there is no discomfort.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times I'll be like, oh my God, this is going to be the worst thing ever. And then I'm like, oh, that was it.
Yeah, exactly that. It's like when you go to the doctors and they go, sharp scratch or something as they're about to put the needle in. I'm like, don't tell me sharp scratch. Right. Please don't tell me sharp scratch. Just do it, because it's probably not going to be like a sharp scratch. If you tell me that, you're going to prime my brain to be listening out for the pain. Whereas if I can dissociate from it slightly, it's just like a little teeny tiny thing. Yeah. Cool. So we're coming to the end of our conversation. Michelle, how do you actually work with people? Do you do one-to-ones?
I do both. I do workshops and such, but I do one-to-one sessions, I call them. I can do half hour. And I do a lot of intuitive work. I do literally intuitive sessions, so I can tune in on people and feel where they're at and help them on their way. If anyone wants to look at what I do, the Soul app, the SOL app, I'm there as a guide, so people can apply under that
Oh, brilliant.
auspices. Yeah. I'm trying to remember, did I remember to put it onto my website? I'll put it on my website too. So
what is your website?
My website, the website for Menopop is menopop.com, menopop.com. And then my website is Michelle Cohen, 2 L's with Michelle Cohen, the number 1.com. And if you don't find what you're looking for, just send me a note and I will hook you up wherever you need to go.
Brilliant. And where are you most active on social media, Michelle?
I'm not brilliant at. I've been lucky enough to not have to be every day, every hour, every minute on anything.
But so lucky.
Yeah, no, it's not going to last because some of the projects I'm working on right now, I'm going to have to be much more present and available, which is fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but there's also something nice about not having to be glued to my phone at all times. So for Menopop, we're mostly Instagram and a little Facebook, and we're doing TikTok now. We're getting into that world, which is, well, it's the next generation coming in. They should know what's going on as well.
That's very true. And if you could give one piece of advice to someone who is approaching the early stages of perimenopause, what would it be?
Well, the jokester me wants to say, run! But but the real human
menopause is going to outrun you.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, there's just no way. I mean, here's the thing. It's kind of like when you get your period. It's just something that at first you're like, oh my God, what is happening to me? And then eventually you figure it out. You figure out, do I want tampons? Do I want, you just kind of, it's something that is a journey. It's not something that's just an automatic fix or an automatic pill and it's going to go away. So I would say welcome it as the chance to get to know yourself and know your body and know your experiences. And if you need help, absolutely reach out. There's tons of communities who want to embrace, and there's communities where you can moan and groan about it. There's communities where you can learn about things. There's communities like what we're creating where you can have fun. So, you may change your mind about which one you want depending on your mood. But just know we all get through it. You'll get through it.
Yeah. Very, very wise words, Michelle. Thank you so much. I've really enjoyed this conversation and
Me
your
too.
very funny energy and your naturalness and your authenticity. It's been so great. I feel very calm. I feel chilled. I feel like my funny bone's been tickled. So that's lovely.
My work here is done. That's perfection. Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, thank you so much. So I'd love to know what your biggest takeaways were. Be sure to leave a comment below and subscribe, like and share. Just so you know, not all podcasts are uploaded here. So if you want the full array of episodes, head on over to Spotify or Apple and search The Menopause Mindset. You also might like to come and find me on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn or TikTok. Just search at Sally Garozzo Mind Mentor. All right, folks, thank you so much for your support and attention. It means the world. Have a great week and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.